First up is Pitch Black Independence Day. So I'm going to talk about two movies at once, kind of. I mean, if you've never heard of Pitch Black is great, wonderful. I love it so much. Definitely recommend it. Independence Day, it's fine, solid, classic. But my experience with it this weekend was amazing. So basically, the story is that a friend of mine from out of town came back home, and he was like, he wants to see a bunch of people, but we still want to be safe. So his parents live on a farm, and he set up so that he had a projector shoot movies to the side of a barn, and we were able to like all be spaced out in his yard. So we were like still got to be near each other, but we weren't like right on top of each other. And it was just a nice fun time. We got to have some beers and catch up and watch some really good classic movies. The next slide, I'm going to show you the picture of what it actually looked like, because I actually got a picture and it turned out nice. Yeah. So we watched Independence Day because it was Independence Day and it's a classic. And then after that was done, there was only like half of us left, and like by that point the fog was really creeping in, and like there was like a full moon in the sky, and then there were coyotes howling in the distance, and it was super creepy and unsettling. So we are like, let's watch something super creepy and unsettling. So I went with Pitch Black, classic, because one of our friends hadn't seen it, and it's got the spooks, and I love it so much. The only other thing I'm going to tell you about the night, which was a blast, love it. Thank you, Tim, for inviting me over. Was that Corey was there, and if you forgot, Corey was the one who 2 nights in a row wanted to watch the movies with me over Discord, and both nights he fell asleep during the movie, and again at this event he fell asleep probably within the first hour of the first movie. So it was like maybe 10:30 when he fell asleep, but yeah. So fun times. Had a good weekend. Now on to Hamilton, the movie I'm pretty sure everyone saw this weekend. I'm not going to bother explaining the premise because you should know the premise is of Hamilton. I'm going to talk really carefully about this movie because I did enjoy it. I put it in the quite liked category, which I wanted to like it even more, but it just didn't happen. And I definitely have some complaints. I'm going to get to those complaints, but I don't want people to hate me. So I'm going to start with the things that I did like about the movie first. So, first off, my favorite characters were Jefferson and Lafayette. Really, that actor, his name is Daveed Diggs. His charisma and just his presence. Every time he was on screen, I was like, yes, you got this. And I immediately cared for his characters. And like, Lafayette was great in the beginning, and then as soon as Jefferson came out in the second act, I was like, oh my god, I hope he's around for so much. I love him. He just had such an energy, and it was great. I want that actor. I want Daveed Diggs to have just like all the success in the world, because like he deserves it. He so deserves it. And then going off of that, King George was incredible. He had such a small part, but every single time he's on screen, I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And I think his were actually my favorite songs. I'll talk more about the songs in a little bit. But yeah, I loved him. And then kind of going off of that, the choreography in general was incredible. I loved it. It was such an experience to see everything they did. And it was like, some of it was, more like abstract stuff, but like it really worked and made sense and was done so incredibly well. And going off that, the freaking spinning stage was such a neat idea. I think it had like 3 layers, and the way they did stuff with that was just, oh wow, that was so cool, man. Yes. Now on to some stuff I didn't like. Okay, let's do this. So, first off, I didn't know this was an opera. I know they didn't sing operatic, but like it's a sing through, so like everything is sung. There's no spoken dialogue, and like that's a much different experience than just a regular musical where they interrupt the music with regular dialogue. And like it can just be overbearing at times. And like I can enjoy an opera like The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. I freaking love that movie, that opera. But like I had it in my head that this was a musical and they're gonna stop singing occasionally. And just when you don't get that expectation, when you don't get that break, it can just be so much. And like had I known about it, I would have enjoyed this experience more had I known. So I guess that's part on me, just part of my expectations, or just how the movie was advertised. Even though, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I definitely would have enjoyed it more had I known about it going into it. And I think over time I'll like the individual songs more when they're not like all the other songs are piled on top of them, basically. That's even already happened because like someone I follow on Instagram did a cover of one of the songs, and I was like, oh, I like this movie or I like this song more outside of context of the movie, um, just because it's easier individually, with not everything else bearing down on top of it. Yeah, and then okay, so this is a recording of a stage play, and so I'm like not expecting like the best stuff in terms of like cinematography, but they did not do a good job. I really feel that. Um, like there were times where like it was really zoomed in on something, but like there was a lot of stuff going on, and the zoomed in thing didn't really matter. Like there was Aaron Burr walking. He had just got done singing. And he was walking to the front of the stage, and while he was walking, they had a zoomed in shot of his face, and like you could clearly see everyone else was doing more interesting stuff. He was just getting to his next mark. Like we need to be zoomed out. Or like there was one, I forget who was singing, but they got down. It was the end of their big song. They got down on their knees, and like they had one shot that was perfect. It was coming from right up below them, and you could see everything, and it was great. And then they cut away to like two different other really awkwardly framed shots, and I'm like, you freaking had the perfect shot. You just need to sit on it, but you didn't, and it was bad, and it's so annoying. But again, it's a stage play, so you can't expect the best stuff. Speaking of like the actual content of the play and what I didn't like, all of the relationship stuff I didn't care about. Like Hamilton sleeping around with all these women and everything with his wife and the love triangle stuff. I didn't care about whatsoever. And like this movie is long. I was going into it knowing that it was going to be. I put in my head it's 3 hours long. It's only 240. Only 240. But even still, I could feel this movie's length, and like I think they easily could have cut out all the relationship stuff. They could have had just a powerful story, and it would have gone much smoother and faster. I mean, obviously, I'm probably more in the minority of this opinion just because everyone freaking loves this thing. But I think they could have cut that stuff easy. And the last thing I'm going to say is I honestly didn't really care about Hamilton himself. Like the ending where it's like, oh, who's going to spread the news about who Hamilton is? Who's going to remember who Hamilton is? I'm like, I mean, I don't really care about him. I kind of cared more about everyone else and their stuff. And like the ending just didn't really have an impact on me when like his wife is all like, oh, is anyone ever going to remember my husband? And then she sees the audience. She sees like gasp. Like, okay. I don't know. His accomplishments didn't seem that important versus I don't know. I think maybe it's just because they focus so much on him being an adulterer and sleeping around, and I'm just like, okay, so you're just really unfaithful and just kind of a shitty person, but we're supposed to like you and be sad about you dying, even though you were and lots of people, all your contemporaries didn't like you, especially like the longer you lived, they didn't like you more, and I'm like, okay, all right. I don't know. I must be in the minority though, because everyone freaking loves this thing. So hopefully I didn't make you angry with that, and you don't stop. You don't send me hate mail or something. I don't know. It was fine. I did quite enjoy it. All right, I'm gonna try and make this one quick. The last one is The Weatherman. This one is a 2005 movie starring Nicolas Cage, Hope Davis, and Nicholas Hoult, very young, and Michael Caine. I remember when this movie came out, this poster, I freaking love this poster. The trailers made it seem like this movie was about a weatherman who just gets harassed by people all the time, and he finally snaps one day and starts carrying around a bow and arrow, and then people start taking him seriously. And I was like, oh, cool, I really want to see this. Like 15-year-old Charlie was all about that. And then I never got a chance to see it. And so I thought that's what this movie was about. Turns out, no, that's not at all what this movie is about. This movie is about Nicolas Cage, who is a weatherman, not a meteorologist, and he's just a giant asshole, and he's confused why people don't love him, even though all he does is just be a giant asshole at everyone constantly, including his fans and his family and his parents, or his dad, and just he's the worst. Clearly everyone doesn't love you because you're a giant prick constantly to everyone. And yeah, it was weird. And there's like a whole pedophile subplot too. He's not a pedophile. And that just kind of seemed unnecessary and weird. And yeah, it wasn't good. Also, just the fact that like there's no, I'd be very surprised if the weatherman is not also a meteorologist, because why the hell would a poor news company ever hire two people to do the job of one person? Like, the meteorologist can predict the weather and also read a teleprompter. It's not that hard. I used to do news. Um, yeah, that's basically it. This movie is dumb. I'm really disappointed. This poster is way cooler than this movie ever was. And yeah, though I did like that it was shot in Chicago. I like Chicago. It's been a while since I've been there. But yeah, this movie is not worth the time. I put it in the meh category. Michael Caine's not bad though. But yeah, it's no bueno.